My grandfather sold a bunch of property off back in the 50s, and he kept 100 acres with our family home. Before he sold that acreage off, they swapped over, my family swapped over from growing cotton to pine trees. The reason they did that is there was no second, third, fourth generation of kids that wanted to take over the family farm. These guys get old enough to retire, they got two choices. They can sell that property, or they can find a way to keep it so that the family can keep their inheritance and their family property, right? So myself and my cousins, we inherited 100 acres with the home on it that was built in the Civil War. It's been in our family for all this time. And he planted all of it in Loblolly Pines. Now, even on 100 acres when I was a kid and a teenager, the family made a good amount of money, enough to pay all the taxes and all the utilities on that house and land. It paid good enough back then for pulp and for timber, you know, on your second cut, your final cut, when you clear cut it, to where you could actually break that property into 330-ish acre chunks, so that one year you would be cutting timber, next year another track you're cutting pulp, next year you're cutting timber on this track, and pretty much every year to 3 years you have a chunk of money coming in to go towards the family to pay for this house and, you know, the taxes and the land that we kept, you know, for our family. So today pulp doesn't pay, timber barely pays, cost of fuel's high, the market's terrible, the mills don't want to pay anything. A lot of mills shut down during COVID, just shut down completely, sold out, you know, so it's getting really tough for the loggers and the timber management firms to really maintain a profit. Now, back in my grandfather's day, they did try to do good forestry practices. I mean, they would protect stream management zones. They would hold on to 50-year-old oak trees. Now, back in the 80s and the 90s, it was cut it and shut the gate where the timber mentality, especially South Georgia, Southwest Georgia, Southeast Georgia, I mean, it was literally, we're going to clear cut it, close the gate, natural regeneration, and deal with it from there. That's it. You know, it's been more recent I say more recent, the last 20 years or so, that we've started really looking more into how do we be more habitat friendly, more erosion control friendly, and have better forestry stewardship practices within the forestry industry. But let me tell y'all, beyond a shadow of a doubt, if these timber properties get sold, you're going to see a lot of them that get developed. So a lot of families are keeping forest because they're not selling the properties. They're keeping it in timber so that they can keep some revenue on that property coming. Now, there's also a big shift in Alabama and Northwest Georgia. A lot of people, and even South Georgia, are getting away from harvesting their timber, and they're letting it get mature. They're thinning real heavily. They're running fire through it. They're still sitting on valuable timber, right? It's not that they're saying, oh, we're out of the timber management thing, but they're saying, we're not going to cut it unless we absolutely have to. The habitat and the aesthetics of having a pine plantation, a pine savanna, far outweighs the money that we're going to get for those pines. So we're going to make it beautiful. We're going to enjoy it for our land use purposes, and we're going to maintain it, and we're going to leave that to our kids. And hopefully our kids love it enough to where they'll maintain it and not harvest those pines as well. So this attitude of timber is terrible, these people are awful, we should get out of, you know, and have nothing to do with timber management, that's not the case. There's a middle of the road between timber and habitat, and if we can find it, we can conserve land in Georgia and in Alabama.